flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hey, Anita, if you would do the roll call, please.
Jennifer Deek.
Here.
Gary Dunlap.
Excused.
Cheryl Hancock.
Here.
I am here. Chris Lau.
Here.
Rebecca Reber.
Here.
Brian Wolpat.
Here.
And Emily Zach.
Here. Okay, with 6 of the 7 school board members present, I would declare a quorum. I would note that the agenda has been posted, distributed, and sent to local media. With this in mind, are there any changes to the agenda at this time? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as published.
So moved.
Anita, is there a second?
I'll second.
Chris, a motion's been made and seconded to approve the agenda as published. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is our visit with Senator Brad Paff. Senator Paff, if you want to go over to the table and...
Yeah, thank you.
And I think usually you start with a few comments and...
I'd be happy to take
and
any questions
some
you may have
questions
as well.
at the end, yes.
Well, thank you, President Hancock and members of the School District of Holmen Board. It's an honor to be here this evening. My name is Brad Paff. I serve as a Wisconsin State Senator representing La Crosse, Vernon, Crawford, and Southern Monroe counties. Approximately 175,000 hardworking people live in this district. And again, it's a real honor. I want to start out by saying thank you for the work that you do. My 2 children graduated from this school district. I'm very proud of this school district. Wonderful teachers that provided very important role models and assistance at a timely manner for my children. And probably too many to name, but there are a few that I do want to thank, current and former teachers. Mrs. Nordgaard, Mrs. Eric Smoen, Jeff Davis, Sand Lake Elementary, A+. Great job, Chris Risch and the Holmen Middle School. And of course, I just want to say thank you to the high school, the entire team there. My children learned an awful lot. They grew personally, and they obviously advanced educationally, and I'm very proud of the work that this school district and the teachers and advisors and academic staff have been able to provide me and my wife. It's meant an awful lot. I also want to say thank you for the past 2 years. None of us knew what to expect in February and March of 2020 when this global health pandemic broke out. And the thing is, I think we're all trying to get through this. I shouldn't speak for everyone. I'll just speak for myself and say I'm absolutely exhausted by this. I'm ready for this to be over. Communicating with the community, that's important. I want to do a special shout out, though, to the students. Thank you. High school is an important time in everybody's life. And the thing is that, the last 2 high school classes, the last 3, they've all been impacted, and they've been impacted differently. Each individual's been impacted differently. I recognize that hasn't been easy. And again, I say thank you for your leadership. I want to congratulate you as well, Ms. Zach, for serving as a student representative. Both my children served on this, and they learned. My son still asks me, why in the world, Dad? Recently, that the Wisconsin State Senate, which I serve in, we will be on the floor in early March, and then we may be done. And I think there's an awful lot of work that still needs to be done. So we'll see. I hope we can get a lot of work done here in the next few weeks. But if not, I want to let you know, while the legislature may not be in session, I am here, I am available, and I want to hear from you. I also want to share with you the fact that we live in some interesting times, as you know. Our Wisconsin state budget is stronger than ever. It has been announced that while our rainy day fund is very strong, we also are expecting a general revenue surplus of over $3 billion. That is tremendous. That's a tremendous amount of money. The thing is this, it's your money, it's my money, it's the taxpayers' state of Wisconsin money. We have to be smart with what we do with this. And there's a variety of different proposals that are available. I just want to share with you a proposal that's been brought forward. In the governor's State of the State address, which he announced on Tuesday, February 15th, he announced some additional funding for public education, K through 12, as well as technical college and the UW system. I just want to spend a few moments and talk with you about some of what's in some of that announcement. First of all, he did talk about a tax rebate of $150 per person here in the state of Wisconsin. So for a family of 4, that could be $600. For a family of 6, it would be $900. In addition to that, what was proposed in the governor's State of the State address was to increase special education funding. And I will say that that is something that needs to be increased. It should have been increased a long time ago. The most recent state budget that was bipartisan that got signed into law in July of 2021 increased the state portion of special education from the previous 28% to approximately 30%. It's an increase, but it doesn't go far enough. Underneath the proposal that the governor introduced at the State of the State, it would be a $172 million investment in special education aid, which would increase the state's reimbursement rate from 30% to 40%. The governor also proposed an increase in per pupil aid of $103 million. This would be an increase in per pupil aid to school districts to $870 beginning in 2022 school year. Currently, we're at about $742. There was some dollars were set aside for school mental health aid, so additional investment and expand the eligibility for that. There was also a discussion and investment when it comes to school breakfast reimbursement. I like to bring that up, especially in this school district. Mike Gasper and the nutrition team that you have here are second to none, the work that they do. But there was reimbursement for the school breakfast of $2.5 million. This fully funds reimbursements under the school breakfast program. General equalized aid of $188 million. And again, as we're all familiar with that provides property tax relief and to try and offset some inflationary cost. So that's some of the highlights that was in the governor's announcement. Now, again, as I stated, the assembly has adjourned, and they did not take this up. We will see where we go here. While they have adjourned, that doesn't mean that they can't come back. But again, this is something that I encourage you to stay well aware of. In total, for education, there's approximately $750 million within the governor's proposal, in addition to approximately $850 million when it comes to that $150 per person tax rebate proposal. We'll see where we go with this, but I think it's an important first step to at least begin to start having this conversation on what we can do and how we stay fiscally responsible in this state. We recognize that while the budget may be good right now, or the surplus may be strong right now, we've also been in situations where it hasn't been as where we want it to be. I will just make a few general comments here, and I'd be happy to open up any questions that you may have, and that is this. Investing in education is one of the greatest investments that we can make as a state. Quite frankly, it's one of the greatest investments we can make for a democracy. And I strongly encourage us to continue to invest in our education system. As I've mentioned to this board in the past, I'm very proud of the public education and the schools that we have in this area and quite frankly in this state. Obviously, we got to continue to do our very best, but I'm very proud of what we have. I also want to mention the fact is that there's, our educators are working very hard right now. I hear from teachers all the time. There's stress out there. I know you know that. They're doing their very best. It's not an easy time. The state of Wisconsin, we have to do more when we talk about what we can do to recruit future educators to go into the field, to be an educator. We need to be more strategic. We need to have a more all-encompassing conversation about this topic. We need to be able to provide greater mentorship and career advancement opportunities for individuals that want to be in the classroom and stay in the classroom. How do we do that? How do we continue to provide our educators with the tools that they need in order to continue to stay within this very rewarding, but yet at the same time challenging at times career field? And that's going to take all of us. That's going to take people working together here across the political aisle, but also it's going to take leadership. It's going to take leadership from everyone, from the community members to those in elected office, to those within our university system, our parents that are involved, and obviously our board members and our administration, in order to make education, continue to keep education and teaching, in a very attractive field for people to enter into. I realize some of the pressures that individual districts are facing right now when it comes to finding substitute teachers. I recognize that is a real challenge. We're facing some demographic challenges in our state right now. I think the global health pandemic just kind of moved it along faster. We have more and more baby boomers are retiring every single day. Our birth rate has dropped in this state, in this country. The birth rate has dropped. There's fewer and fewer people to fill jobs that people are retiring from. Education is no different. I hear from school superintendents throughout the state Senate district that I represent that in the past you could have 20 or 30 or even 40 applicants for a job. Now there's a handful or less of applicants for a position. That causes stress, obviously, and that also can have a ripple effect. So this is something that we have to be creative. We have to think about this. The other thing I want to mention real briefly, and I'd be happy to open it up, is one thing I hear over and over again is there's a lot of help wanted jobs. Help wanted signs up. People are looking for work, jobs. People are looking for individuals to fill these jobs. Yet at the same time, while you got that taking place, you have some individuals that may not have the skill sets that which are jobs that are open. And so one of the things that I've been trying to do in the Wisconsin State Legislature and a variety of committees I serve on is trying to recognizing this mismatch we have between available jobs and then the skill sets that those individuals that are currently unemployed or underemployed, that it doesn't match. And how can we do more of this match? And that is so very important. And so this is an all hands on deck approach that we've got to take. I encourage the Holmen School District to continue to be part of that as we focus on this here in the Cooley region. I will also say this, is that the mentorship and the apprenticeship programs that this school district offers, as well as other school districts here in the area, that's very helpful. It's great because there's a number of individuals in high school, students, maybe sophomores or juniors or seniors that are looking. They may be ready to get out of the classroom, and there's ways to expand that classroom out into a business setting. And so again, I thank you for exploring those ideas and continuing to think about further ideas to create those apprenticeship and those mentorship opportunities, as well as those dual enrollment opportunities. And the dual enrollment programs that you may have either with UW La Crosse or with Western or with some other affiliated higher education, providing that opportunities for students, I think can be a win-win for not just the student themselves, but also for an employer who is looking to continue to contact and reach out and learn about future available workforce. So what more we can do as far as building those partnerships for dual enrollment with University of Wisconsin La Crosse, the UW system, Western Technical College. So, you know, a high school student, may it be a sophomore, junior, or senior, could take courses at a higher education institution, receive some credit, and at the same time potentially, you know, get an apprenticeship or an internship in the workforce. I think could be a win-win. So with that, I would be happy to take any questions that you may have. Again, thank you very much for allowing me to come before you this evening. We got a taste of spring. It's exciting. It's so exciting. It's been such a long winter, at least it has been. I think it has been, so it's exciting to have the sunshine right now and see the snow melt. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you.
Senator Paff, are there any questions? I know that, you know, I have to ask the
Yep.
question. There's been a slew of education related bills that were passed. Word is, and I don't know if they were passed by both houses, but word is that it's likely the governor will veto them. Will they be bringing the assembly back to override, or what will they do with that?
I doubt it. Yes, there has been a variety of different education bills that have been passed. I mean, there's a measure that's been introduced in the Senate, and I believe a companion bill in the Assembly that would, you know, take the Milwaukee Public Schools and turn it into 8 separate school districts. You know, that did pass, but it doesn't have the votes for a veto, if there is a veto, for an override. We have not had that bill before us in the state Senate yet. I'll wait to see if we do have that. There also has been a variety of different, you know, there's a lot of talk as far as what more we can do as far as, you know, providing assistance when it comes to virtual education and the tools for virtual education. So there's been some bills that have been brought forward in regards to that. It has not had the kind of bipartisan support that I do believe if a more comprehensive, thought-through measure would, because I think there's opportunities. I think there's opportunities for this district and for, you know, neighboring districts, but it needs to be, I guess, a little bit more thought out in that regards. You know, there's always the interest, and I think it's important that we continue to hear from, you know, parents and members of the community. I think that's very important, and in the legislature, we have heard that. That's very important. I want to say thank you to the school district here in Holmen for continuing to have advisory committees that allows individuals involved in their community and parents to continue to play an important role in their child's education. I think that's important. So we'll continue to, you know, I think it's great. I think it's important that there is bipartisan interest in education in the Wisconsin State Capitol. I think any time that we can talk about education and the importance of education, I think that's a good thing. Now, we may not always agree on what the answers are to this, but the fact that we're talking about how important education is and making sure that Wisconsin continues to be an education leader is imperative. I think one of the things that I didn't mention in my prepared remarks, but we need to do better as a state of Wisconsin when it comes to closing the achievement gap. You know, this district does a good job. But as a state overall, we need to do better. And we can't take no for an answer here. I mean, we only get a limited amount of time. Well, education's a lifetime thing. We only get a limited amount of time with, you know, with the students. And so we need to close these achievement gaps. And I hear my colleagues on that. And I think we need to be more aggressive on this. I think we need to be stronger when it comes to our reading scores. And again, I'm proud of the work that this district does and the districts in the 32nd Senate District, but we live in the state of Wisconsin, and we live in the upper Midwest here, and we live in a global economy. And so we got to make sure that how our students score on their 4th grade reading test, those are important. And I think that we need to do more. and what can we do as far as working with our universities, our education system within our universities to make sure that school districts like Holmen and others have the opportunity to hire and the best, the best reading teachers that are available, and to have the kind of academic research that's coming from the new research when it comes to reading and how we can make sure that our students are prepared going forward. So those are issues that have got a lot of attention this last legislative session. They'll continue to get attention, but it's how we do it and how we work together on this. And again, it can't be an unfunded mandate. The legislature can talk about some of this stuff, but again, money needs to follow. And that is where I stand on this, is I stand ready, I'll stand with you, all of you, as we work together to make sure that our students get the highest quality education here, but at the same time, we need to make sure that there are the dollars there. And I recognize, what, the levy limits and, other revenue sharing that's coming from the state, and what more that we can do to make sure that you have the tools to prepare our students going forward. There's also been a lot of conversations in regards to curriculum and curriculum development and things like that, and I will continue to work with my colleagues, but I also will work closely with our new Secretary of Superintendent, I should say, Superintendent of Public Instruction. If you haven't had the opportunity to meet Dr. Jill Underly, I think you'll be impressed. Dr. Underly is a former superintendent in a rural school district in southwest Wisconsin, Pecatonica. She's a very personable, humble person, and she is someone that's very connected within the schools, understands the importance of public education, understands the importance of rural schools, and she is someone that I very much like working with. And I hope that we get the opportunity to have Dr. Underly come to this district sometime in the future, because I would be happy to introduce you to her. So she's wonderful.
Well, thank you so very much. I think that's all our time for today, but
right.
we really do appreciate you coming out and
Thank
updating
you.
us on what's going on in Madison.
I thank you very much, and thank you all for the work that you do. It is it's important work, and stay positive in what you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, then the next item is public participation. I have one card here for someone to come forward and speak. Just a reminder that public participation is limited to 5 minutes per person, and it should be addressed relative to an item on the agenda. Barb Wench is wanting to speak today about the bullying policy, which is on our agenda. And if you would just introduce yourself and address.
Barb Winch, N6905 Pine Lane. I will be brief tonight. Tonight, the board has been presented with the materials for the first reading of the anti-bullying policy that has been submitted by the Student Achievement and Learning Committee. I'm a member of the committee, and I want you to know that members have been reviewing the policy for the last several months. One of the most significant changes to this policy is the inclusion of hate speech. I believe this addition speaks to to the district's core values of empowerment, equity, excellence, and integrity and safety. And I do think it's important to note that the sanctions and supports resulting from any conduct highlighted in this policy are not necessarily punitive. The district will provide support of the identified victims of such behavior, as well as anti-bias and anti-bullying education training to students if it is determined that such behavior has been committed. And I believe that the revisions of this policy help to continue the district's commitment to our students, to provide all students with a safe and secure environment. And I look forward to the benefits of this implementation.
Thank you, Bob.
That's all I have.
Okay, and that is our public participation for this evening. District Administrator's Report. Dr. Mueller.
Good evening.
So we have some celebrations. Many of our students are excelling in many different ways, not only academically through our DECA, but also through our athletics programs. It's probably, I would say, since my time here, the amount of our teams that are making it to the state tournament, they're starting to know where Holmen is these days. So this past weekend, the gymnastics team became sectional champs. So they will be heading to Team State in Wisconsin Rapids this weekend. And then we also have individuals advancing to state. We have Harley Bartles, was the sectional champ on the floor, and Katie Lang, who's actually a freshman. She's the sectional champ on bars. Maddie Melby, she'll be going to state for vault, beam, and all around, and Cameron McNally will be going for the vault and bars and beam, floor, and all around. So quite a talented group of girls, and they'll be representing Holmen very well up at the state gymnastics tournament this weekend. And then also, our wrestling, they had their individual state tournament this past weekend, and we had the first 4 of our individuals medal, which is the most in history of Holmen. So Tyler Yan got 4th place in the state tournament, and Parker Cradaville received 4th place, Preston Cradaville 5th place, and Carson Westcott 6th place. And then we have one more, our girls hockey team, which is a co-op. They're known under the Onalaska Hilltoppers through the co-op, and they are also sectional champs in advancing to the state tournament in Madison over the weekend. So just congratulations to all those teams and individuals. And we actually have a slew of our power lifters. We have 18 of them qualified for state and 12 qualified for nationals. So just lots of success there. On to some not as exciting. All of our juniors will be taking the ACT like they do always on Tuesday, March 8th. So we're preparing for that. And then also last week was an annual Wisconsin chili lunch was provided. And as usual, they used as many of the ingredients that they produce themselves in our greenhouse and area here in the district to make that chili. So that was highlighted, as you might have saw over there at the schools, and served in all of our schools. So thank them for that. All right.
Is that it for
Yep.
the, okay. And then moving on to recognition and thank you, Dr. Mueller.
The Holmen High School Band received 2 donations to help support the band program. So we want to say a big thank you to Park Bank and the charitable giving program on behalf of Kara Rasmussen Lee. They donated $570. And to the Holmen Alumni and Community Band, which donated $1,000. So thanks to both of those organizations for their generous support. That was very nice. And then coming up, the week of March 7th, we'll be celebrating our National School Breakfast Week. So once again, we want to thank all our nutrition services staff and our supervisor, or our director, Mike Gasper, for all their dedication in making sure our students are well fed and all ready and fueled up to go for each and every day of their academics in school. So thank you.
All right, thank you. And then moving on to reports and discussions, we will be highlighting the CTE month. And Dr. Mueller and Travis have a presentation for us.
Yeah, so I just want to start. So it was CTE month this month, and Travis Udell is our communication specialist, and he's had the opportunity to go out and kind of to get some footage as to what actually goes on inside the walls of our buildings. I just want to take this opportunity to thank not only you as a board, but our community for how they have invested in providing opportunities for our students. I think when you, these are just tidbits in the video, but once you see what Holmen School District is able to provide for our students, Mr. Paff, Senator Paff tonight, he talked a lot about apprenticeships, preparing our students with skills they need. I know in our area, manufacturing is one of the, in construction, are very needed areas. And I'm so proud of our staff and all the training and learning they have to do to teach our students at the high school level the skills they are. So we're going to show you a little bit and highlight that. And
Yeah.
Travis, want to add a little bit?
Yeah, I just had a lot of fun going around to all the different departments, and I wanted to thank the teachers, Abe Reagan from the Tech Ed Department, Haley Hesselberg with Business, Joel Ladon in Agri-Science, Danielle Bakeberg in Family and Consumer Education. They were all really helpful in sort of helping me set up the videos and just super passionate about what they do. That was one thing I really learned going around and talking to them, and in the different videos that I did, they just really love what they do and they love our students, so that's awesome. And then the students who are a part of it, either they volunteered or were kind of assigned, so Gunnar Hillstad, Avery Bailey, Cameron Demmel, and Joseph Baranowski. Again, talking to them, just very passionate about what they do and really love the Career and Tech Ed program, so it was super fun to get to know them a little bit as well. And so all these videos, I did 4 of them. 4 videos can be found on Facebook and YouTube. This one here is kind of a shorter version. It's sort of a recap video that puts all 4 areas into one. So you'll see video from all different 4 areas into this one video, and kind of talks about the core fundamental things about CTE. So with that, we'll just play it.
The more we can expose kids to different areas, the more likely they are to find a passion that they want to go into, and the more successful they'll be and a lot happier in life because they'll enjoy going to work.
They get this opportunity of coming into the classroom and doing something with their hands or building or anything, whether it's auto mechanics or woods or foods or business and marketing, and they're making wheels and deals. I love it. It's just so cool to find that kids have talents. I always tell everybody you have a talent.
Career and technical education in general is just a great way for students to get involved with something that they're going to carry on throughout the rest of their life.
Career and technical education allows students who see value or eventually will see value in having a career someday, like all of us need to, and be able to practice those skills now at age 14 through 18, be able to get ready to be college and career ready.
If you have any interest whatsoever in the career and technical education programs, I say chase your thoughts and your ideas and just go for it. You're not going to lose out on anything, and you're going to have plenty of opportunities to learn and get in lots of experience.
For the kids that don't know about giving it a try or thinking about doing something along the lines of this, I'd say, it's worth it. Give it a shot because it will be something that you enjoy.
Thanks. So that's sort of the video that puts all 4 in there. There's longer versions. And you can find that on YouTube and Facebook. Like I said, that sort of will talk more in depth about the different programs with the Tech Ed and then the Agri-Science, Business, and FACE. And as you could hear, just teachers are very passionate and the students are very passionate. So it was a lot of fun.
It's a great video, and, it's open enrollment time, boy. We keep hearing things about CTE, and some people will suggest we need to, school districts, people make those blanket statements about school districts need to do better with CTE, and I'm always one of the first people to say, we have a quality program here in Holmen, and Travis, really, I've seen all those other videos that you've done, and awesome work, and this just highlights it, and we really appreciate it, because have known for a long time the quality work, and your ability to do that really brings it forward, and I think it also provides a sense of pride for our staff to be able to share that, because, and so thank you for doing that and the quality that your work you're doing, so, awesome. Any questions related to the video? Because I know we didn't ask CTE people here tonight, but awesome. Okay, thank you so very much. Then we move on to item 11, which is consent. We've got 7 items on our consent agenda. Unless you'd like to have something pulled separately and considered individually, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
So moved.
Anita, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Rebecca? Any discussion? Okay, a motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Then I'll move on to board member reports and discussion. I'll call on the board members in order of roll call, or the order I have here on my sheet. I don't think it always matches, but any comments you have from committee reports or general comments? Jennifer Deek.
Yeah, I'd like to start out by saying thank you to Senator Paff for coming here tonight. It was a pleasure to hear you speak, and enjoyed having you here at the meeting. Also, good luck to the Holmen Gymnastics and the co-op hockey team. I too am really impressed with the amount of our athletic programs that are going to state. And then, also for the individual wrestlers who all made the podium this year. That was pretty awesome too. And lastly, this is Read Across America Week, and I know my kids are having a lot of fun with the different activities at the schools and what they're wearing, especially my oldest one, what they're wearing, on which day, because we had one shirt that qualified for 3 different themes. And what day were we going to wear the one shirt? So I think we have it figured out.
Such strategy. Thank you. Anita Jagodzinski.
The Personnel and Governance Committee met last week, and we went over some policies, just cleaned up language on the school board elections, filling board vacancies, and school attorney selections. And then we were also given an update that teachers will now be getting a stipend when they sub on their prep time, which is, to me, a wonderful thing that I wish we could have done a while back. And also that hourly staff can now work for extra pay, and even if it puts them into overtime, because we were so short-staffed for event workers and things like that. So, and that's all I have. Well, our next meeting is April 20th. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Chris Lau.
Well, Anita just went over personal governance, so I won't do that. I would also like to thank Senator Pfaff for coming out tonight. It's always great to hear from our local elected representatives. Congratulations to all of the winter sports that are advancing to state. It seems like it's like, wow, these are some good athletes we got in this district. And then just on a personal note, we got an email this morning that Viking Express, the 5th grade show choir musical group, is getting back out. So my daughter was extremely excited to hear that. So just a kind of return to normalcy for those kids to be able to get back out and do choir. So I was really excited for her and for those kids to be able to do that this year still.
Okay, thank you. Rebecca Reber.
Building and Grounds met tonight. The Nexus group just gave us a brief summary of the facility assessment for the buildings. I do believe, I want to wish all the sports teams good luck, especially the wrestlers. And then I believe there's no bus masks on buses tomorrow.
Correct.
And big
I
stuff.
forgot to put that in my district administrator.
Washing
That
their
came out
hands.
today. Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's all I have.
Okay, Brian Kopet.
I'd like to congratulate all the athletes who have competed at the state level and wish those who will be competing in upcoming competitions best of luck. And I'd also wish the juniors best of luck next week as they take their ACT exam. And then I also want to just give a shout out to Travis Judell. What you're doing on Facebook and social media is amazing, and the level of professionalism that you're portraying out in the community is greatly appreciated. And so thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian. Emily Zach.
There's a lot of state qualifying and placing, and it's just been a really good past few weeks. And then DECA International, they're going to the International in Georgia in April, which is pretty cool. I was looking at the list. I was gonna read all the names, and I'm like, I can't read all these names. There's so many names. So I'm not gonna name all the names, but there's a lot of them. And then good luck to the juniors for ACT. Felt like it was just the other day. I was actually, I think I was here. I was like, I have the ACT tomorrow. I'm freaking out, but it went okay. And then National School Breakfast Week. I mean, those guys work so hard back there, supplying for us all the time. And I get breakfast at school every day, and it's just so good. I I don't know, when I was a kid, I always thought, school lunch, but now that I'm here, I'm living, actual high school, I could not be more proud to say how good our school lunch and breakfast is. It's just really good. And then highlighting, like, the CTE classes, like, you can't have a boring schedule at this high school. Like, obviously you're going to have some serious classes, but mixing some of those classes that are actually fun and going towards, like, what you actually want to do after high school, it breaks up your day and it makes it a lot better. And you can tell that our teachers love what they do, and it just makes me proud to go to a school like this. So that's all I got.
Okay, thank you. Yes, of course, want to acknowledge, in wrestling, they not only have individual, but they are going to be competing this week at state team. And gymnastics, the same, had some individual qualifiers, but also they qualified as sectional champs, and then the hockey as well. And DECA, I think a couple people have mentioned that. They did outstanding, too. It was fun watching the results come back. I have been very curious about that outdoor pursuit class that you keep putting on Facebook. They are out there, and it must be just north of here is where they're building these forts, and they're going to sleep out there, and I just can't wait to see when that happens. And again, another exciting opportunity for our students to experience some of that. And I think about some things that are happening internationally and some of the skills that the people there are needing because of some of the transportation and things they're doing, and that, boy, this maybe would have been a good thing for some of those folks to have. And Rebecca mentioned the mask optional on transportation. I think that is as a result of this CDE coming down, not CDE, the CDC coming down with their recommendations late last week, and I think March 1st is when that starts. So that's nice, and thank you, Dr. Mueller, and your team for being responsive to that quickly, because people, I know it's difficult sometimes to enforce that and maintain that on that one singular area or whatever that they're doing, activity that they're doing. So it's good to see that that was responded to quick. And then Senator Paff, of course, thank him for coming. He mentioned the advisory committees, and I just wanted to highlight that a little bit. Our school district has long held the value of involving parents and stakeholders, including staff and general members of the community on our committees. And there we have 4 board committees, the Student Achievement and Learning. Barb Wench came and presented tonight, or commented tonight. She serves on that committee, but we have other parents on that committee, as do the other committees that we have. And that is one way that we seek and receive input from parents and community members on a regular basis. All of those committees do important work that then works its way up towards the school board. And those are school board-led committees. They're based on the strategic initiatives that we have in a district, so it's all kind of related. But we couldn't do those things without the stakeholders, including parents and family, and students are included in those committees too, as much as possible, as much as they can attend. So I just wanted to acknowledge that and recognize that that's the advisory committees that he's talking about. We have the Personnel and Governance, the Student Achievement and Learning, the Finance Committee, and then the Buildings and Grounds Committee. So they all kind of work within the initiatives that we are working toward. And that, I know, is where a lot of the hard work is done. I know one of our visitors, frequent visitor, wonders why we don't ask more questions about financial things from time to time, Mr. Brown. But that's where all that hard work happens, is in those committees. And they oftentimes dig really deep in all of the issues that are related to our finances, and they meet monthly so that those things can be reviewed. But we do that in the other areas. And the most important thing is that they review and update the policies that we have. And so tonight, the bullying and hate speech policy was one of them, but there were a number. The use of restraint and seclusion. I'm proud of the work that committee is doing. Personnel and Governance did the elections, the board vacancies, and attorney selection. So there's a number of things that are annually reviewed, and then some that are done in a cycle, because we couldn't possibly do them all. Keep in mind that those are led by our staff, the leadership team, and there's a lot of hard work that they do in having those committees be successful, and we appreciate that as well. So that's all that I had under reports and discussions. I would just note that the upcoming meeting, we have a board meeting on March 14th. The candidate forum, which is being led by the League of Women Voters, is on March 21st, and then March 28th is the next board meeting. Spring election is April 5th, with another meeting on April 11th, and the organizational meeting on the 25th. So, unless there's anything else to come, Anita, if you would read the motion for the closed session.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby moves to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, in this case, the district administrator's evaluation. And I will do
Is there a second?
I will second.
Okay, and then Anita, if you would do the roll call.
Yep. Jennifer Deek?
Yes.
Gary Dunlap is absent. Cheryl Hancock?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Chris Lau?
Yes.
Rebecca Reber? Yes. And Brian Wopat?
Yes.
Okay, so as soon as the room clears, we will be in closed session.